Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are here on First Friday Live, and I have, one of the most amazing guests who actually has already been on my magical manifestation community. And I brought Anna Grace Taylor here this evening, and whoever is here live, whoever is here afterwards and sees this, after we've been streaming, we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on YouTube, and I couldn't be more grateful to be here on Friday, the 6th of February. Can't believe it's February already. Anna, welcome. How are you?
Like you, I can't believe it's February, but I'm also grateful that it's February as well.
Yeah, so am I. I wasn't. January's always so dark and cold and
It's a
wet.
little
Well,
bit long,
especially
isn't
in
it?
Wales.
It's a little bit long.
Long. It's
Yeah.
long, 31 days of it, isn't it? And February's a lot shorter. Of course, we got Valentine's Day in February. I hope you've been sending all your Valentine's cards out. I certainly have already. But so tell me about
You
you.
just
I mean,
reminded me, actually, I need to do that. And I'm also
there you
expecting,
go.
of course, lots to come through my door.
Thousands, thousands. You
Thousands.
just,
And
yeah,
flowers and everything. So,
yeah.
I'm not shy.
No,
Yeah.
just let the universe bring it on. That's what I think.
Oh dear. I'm
And
I'm great. Thank you, my lovely. Thank you so much for having me, MJ.
you are very welcome. But I mean, nobody wants to know about me. They hear me bang on the internet or scream into the void, as my children call it, all the time. Oh, Mama, you've been screaming into the void again. So I'm old hat. I'm old hat. But we're here to talk about you. I want to know. I know a little bit about you, but
You
nobody
do.
else does apart from your audience. Tell my audience about you.
I'm Anna. I am an angel therapist. I am a spiritual mentor and I am an author, especially right now of my two angel card decks. The first, which came out in Australia in August, and later on last year in the UK, in the US, and Canada. And then more recently, another deck called Messages of Angels. They are both full of angelic messages about all sorts of things, including love, relationships, manifestation, physical well-being, all sorts of things, having faith, all sorts. And you have both of them because I just sent them to you, didn't I?
I know, and I was just saying, and there's the envelope that they came in, and the first reading that came out of those cards was just before a very important event, but it wasn't for me. I did the first reading for an individual that we've been supporting, and when the cards came out, he literally went, "What? How? I'm sorry." The last one of the cards was the one about training, about you know what you want to be, and you either do or you don't, and
Oh, education. So it's like
that's
basically not
right.
using your training and education to kind of keep yourself going into I have to learn this, I have to learn that,
Learn
just get
that
on with it.
you're ready
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
ready now.
Then you're
And
the
he
eternal student, MJ.
well, maybe I need that card pulling. Maybe it was for me, but I think it was timely for both of us. And when they came, he couldn't believe that I had such an amazing individual to send
Oh.
me such a beautiful thing. And then he came. He said, "Do you know what? My missus absolutely swears on these types of things." I was like, "Well, you know what to do now. Buy these new ones. They're
Oh, should
amazing.
I
They are."
show you? I forget we're on
Yes,
camera. Like
please.
everyone's going to see it. So this
And,
is the
and
deck. I'm just going to
that's the
show
new
you.
one.
This is the deck.
Beautiful.
It's a green. It's lovely. I love this color
I
green,
love it.
and on the camera you can't see it as well, but it says
No.
messages of angels in this one,
And
and then
this
the
one,
other,
this
and
one,
then
it
yeah,
says
and then the other one,
messages of grace.
messages of grace. I tell you why, because I actually did a book full of messages, and the book is called Messages of Grace. So it's originally because the book is Messages of Grace, and obviously there's a second deck, so you can't call them both the same name. But Grace is my middle name, as you'll see on the screen here. And it actually years ago, I added it to my name. It wasn't my original middle name. In fact, I didn't have one, and that is part of my story because I was born 11 weeks prematurely with my twin sister. And we were told 45 years ago, or just a bit more than 45 years ago, that we'd be lucky to survive and that they would do everything that they could to keep us alive. of course, I'm alive and my sister is alive and we're both doing well. But they registered our birth very quickly in case we did not survive. And my mum and dad didn't even know what they were going to call us as a first name, let alone as a second name. So it was like, right, you're Anna, you're Karen. And then when I was 30, I added Grace to my name, partly because it's a family name. So my grandma's middle name is Grace. My cousin's middle name is Grace. My cousin's daughter's middle name is Grace. But also at that time, around the same time, I found out that Anna means grace. So when and actually the story that goes with that is that my great grandmother, so my grandmother mother's name, I never met her, but she died just before we were born. Her name was Grace. She didn't know we were going to be twins, but my grandma found a brooch that she used to wear, and it had an angel on it with two babies.
Well, you see. It is predetermined. We were
Yeah,
only talking before we came live about the degrees of separation are all. It's like a spiral for me. It
yeah,
suddenly starts to come and make sense where
yeah,
everything begins to connect. And of
yeah.
course, that's how we know each other because we both have a mutual
We do.
friend who is phenomenal and said, you need to meet Anna. Well, now I know
Well,
you're
she said
great.
the same
You're
to me, and I
Grace
was like,
twins.
"Oh, okay." I was having a really difficult time I think it was about 18 months ago or so, and I just said, "I really feel like I need some more support, and I feel like my body is really struggling, and I can't continue to do some of the things that I'm doing." And she said, "Oh, do you know who you need to meet?" I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was you. So there
And
we go.
there
You
we
are
are.
responsible for a lot of the I was gonna say a lot of the meetings that we've
I am responsible for a lot of the meetings we have. Absolutely, I am. But I am great. I'm grateful to know
yeah,
you.
we
Your
are great. We're
cards.
grateful for each other, and the thing is, that's the thing, is that the interesting thing is when our mutual friend introduced us, she was talking to me from a perspective of what you do and how incredible you are at helping people like me with disabilities. Did not tell me at all that you were kind of in the same world as me as far as what we talk about and what we believe in. So I just said, "Oh yeah, I work with angels. This is what I do. I'm self-employed." And you're like, "Really? Oh, this is great."
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You are an angel reader and a spiritual mentor. I love that. I mean, I know what that is. I have, I've known angels all my life. I knew who God was before I was born. I've never needed to have faith on account of the fact that the universe, God, whatever you have it, I've always known I was everything. I've always known I was part of a whole. But for those people who might not have come across angel readings before, or even all the words we've just been using,
Yeah.
then what is that? Can you
Well,
explain it?
because people will often say that to me, especially if they do have faith in God. They say, "Why angels? Why do you talk to angels? And what does it really mean?" To me, the angels are God's messengers. They are pure love and light. And because we live a human existence, of course, and we come to earth and we have all these challenges and stresses and things that feel really hard and complicated, of course, sometimes it's going to be quite challenging to connect to that pure loving space, and we also need lots of help while we're here. And so to me, the angels are sent to us, with us, while we are on this human plane, and we are given certain guardian angels to assist us. Without exception, to me, everyone has guardian angels. The only difference is between perhaps people like you and I who are in touch with that, or and kind and loving, is that clearly, obviously, there is the opposite of that in the world, and that they're not listening to the voice of love and they are completely out of tune with that. But that doesn't mean they don't have guardian angels. It just means that they're not connecting to that. And even in a simplistic way, somebody that might be listening to us going, "Well, I don't really know about that, and I'm not so sure because I don't really understand how it works." That's okay. You don't have to. They're still there. And a lot of us listening will have had moments in our lives where we might have felt something really strongly without it making logical sense. We might feel like there was a moment in our lives where we could have left the planet and we didn't, and something happened to stop that. There might have been a moment, I hear it so often, where people are in a car and they hear turn left and suddenly avoid an accident, for example. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but sometimes it does happen that way. And that's where I would say the only exception to our free will, where we have to ask the angels to intervene and help us with our day-to-day lives, is if there is a life or death situation when we're not supposed to go and they go, okay, MJ, we're going to come in here because you're supposed to be on the planet a bit longer. And I'm sure you've had plenty of those experiences. But lots of people, even if they haven't had that consciously, will know that there's moments where that feels like that crossroads in their lives, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Of course, I've had many of those instances, and I get woken up at 111.
Yeah.
Now all I do at 111 a.m. is go, "Hello, yes, how can I help you?" Of course, I can ask them to let me rest, but they do say to me, unfortunately, "When else can we talk to you? You're always busy doing so much." So
Yeah, when
maybe
you're slowing
maybe.
down.
Yeah, that's right. When I stop the space, I was talking to somebody this morning about, well, our group I'm in, with a mutual friend of ours that we've just found out, another mutual friend of ours that we've just found out, in a group that we were in, about the space that we create when we stop. And I was driving, because I'm in a wheelchair, over the bridge last night, and it was throwing it down with rain. And I literally said to the universe, what kind of crazy person would come out on a night like this? And they went, well, this is the only space you get to think. And most of my epiphanies and awarenesses come in that space. And I think that's when it's important to lean into that. And I listen even more intently now. And I think you can train your ear as well. Like me, I'm a wheelchair user, and all sorts of other things about my disabilities. But you were born with some health challenges, and of course sometimes you were told that things would just not be as good as they were.
Yeah.
Um, I know, and you know, about mine and yours challenges. That doesn't mean that we don't love and live in the world, but uh, what inspired you to keep working on kind of moving forward with your, I don't know, your mobility and your life and being you just as you are,
Yeah.
landing
Well,
here?
it's an interesting one. I think you and I have talked about this a lot, that I potentially, because I was fortunate to have a level of mobility and communication where I could, do lots of the things, especially early on, that my twin sister did. My mum noticed really early on that I wasn't walking or crawling like she was, but I was talking just like I am now, I think from about the age of 1. So there was never going to be a problem about that. And I think, I've always felt like my ability to communicate and to sit with another person, just like I'm doing right now, was like this sort of divine compensation in a way for me. It was a way that I got to do the things that I do now, even though I didn't really know that and I didn't understand that. I've always had the ability to have a conversation. I've always had the ability to empathize very deeply. And when I had surgery as a teenager to help my legs, I then became very ill. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone becomes very ill after surgery, but for various reasons, my immune system just said, absolutely no, that is not very good. And that's that's what's gonna happen. And it led me on this path of really trying to seek other ways of doing
Exactly.
things, because as we know, doctors are great, but they do not have all the answers, and they certainly don't have all the answers for a very highly sensitive person. And I remember, even as a young child, I don't remember sort of exact moments, but I do remember things like I would wake up and hear my name, like they would say Anna, and I'd wonder what that was, and I just assumed that it was just like me having like,
Having
oh,
a moment.
that's somebody calling my name and I've just been woken up and that's fine. I didn't really think of it in the context of spirit, because my dad is an atheist, my mum is open, but we didn't have conversations like this. Nobody talked to me about these things. So by the time I was a teenager and I became really unwell, I had to quit mainstream education by the time I was sort of 14 years old and had home tuition, which is a whole nother story. But I didn't have a lot of the sort of mainstream education after that. And but I also knew that I was really fortunate. I had the connection with my sister, so I stayed in touch with a few friends. I was able to go into school very occasionally, and I wanted to find a way to at least help myself in some capacity to feel a bit better. I've always been quite a proactive person. I'm not very good at just being like, oh, well, you know, there we go. That's fine. I can't really do that. My tolerance for, I want to say crap is quite low. It's like I'm not very good at just sitting and going, oh, that's
Oh
my lot.
well, there we
Yeah.
are. Here we are.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think,
it.
you know, I'm not saying everyone is, but I do feel like I've got a sort of spirit in me that says, what? Like, you're saying that that is supposed to be my reality? Oh no. I've always had that kind of, I call it that Archangel Michael sort of
Well,
fire within me. And I think that's what you and I talk about. I have
it
this
is.
real, yeah, as much as I am a sweet, kind angel
You
person,
are.
and lots of people will say, oh, you're such an angel, Anna, that's fine. But actually, if you know me well, you know this other part of me. And I have always wanted more for myself, I think is what I'm trying to say. I've always fought for really hard to get a life that feels good to me. And so I decided to go to an aromatherapist and reflexologist to start with, just to have a little bit of nurturing and things that felt good to me. And I started to ask her questions because she would give me Reiki healing and I would feel it in my body and I wouldn't understand what was happening. And then she'd say certain things to me that I couldn't really explain, but just made a lot of sense to me. And then I met someone who, bless her, is in spirit. In fact, she is a very, very good friend of our mutual friend and is why I know our mutual friend. And she changed my entire life and became a kind of reminder for me of why I was so sensitive. And she started to give me healing herself and taught me all these things. But when I say taught me, like you, when you were a child, I just knew them. I've never ever had these conversations with anyone before. And yet what she was telling me was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's normal to me. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, totally get it. And
yeah.
she started saying to me, Anna, you know, you are a highly sensitive person. This is what's going on in your body, and this is why you have such a hard time with various things. And I started to have my own experiences. I would suddenly see lights out the corner of my eye, and I would feel the energy like I used to, but understand why I was feeling it rather than just think, oh my gosh, I'm completely crazy. Because I could often walk into a restaurant or sit in a restaurant and feel what other people were feeling. But when you're 13, you have no context for what that is. I just thought I was completely nuts. And also, very often would feel so ill I couldn't eat anything and things like that. So when you're that kind of sensitive growing up, it's hard enough, isn't it, being a teenager? But I didn't have any way to manage it. So meeting someone like her and then doing an angel therapy course, I suddenly realized, like, oh, that is a
That's-
gift to me and it is my superpower. It's not something because, you know, maybe you don't know, but having a disability, there is always that added thing of, oh, you know, you've got a disability, of course you're going to have this kind of experience. So, well, your body's just going to do weird things. Maybe it is, I don't know, but I had no way of understanding that not
Absolutely.
everyone was like that. And you know, this is the other thing, is that I meet lots of people now, especially in my later life, with disability. It doesn't mean that they're like you and I at all. We can all have different gifts, can't we? So
Absolutely.
I started to understand that and then went, oh, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to help people with. And understood that the angels was something that I could experience more. The more I tuned into it, the more I practiced. Basically, I've never done anything else.
I
I've
love
never,
that.
ever done any other job ever.
No, you see, for me, I began the Helping Hands agency aged 11. Drew around my hand, put it on a piece of paper, put it round my streets. We weren't very well off, and dug gardens and tidied bedrooms and washed older ladies' windows uh, and
Amazing.
and who would know that here we are, however many years later, that I would still
You're
be.
not that old.
I don't know. I
You're actually
started
not
at
that much
11.
older than I am, but there we go. But I do think, yeah, you're right. I think there's something in that, isn't there? That maybe we all have always had this
Would
sort of
know.
fairly independent sort of spirit, or feeling like we didn't necessarily have to do what everyone else did.
Absolutely.
And you know, I haven't said this to you before, but or maybe I have. I don't know. I can't remember. We've talked about lots of things, but it's great meeting someone like you, because I think that I've often either met somebody who has the level of sensitivity that I do and does the things that I do, or I've met someone with a disability. And quite often people assume I have the gifts I have because I have a disability. And it's not
Wow.
as in, I don't mean that people assume that disabled
No.
people just do what I do, but it's usually like, well, you know, your body's just, it's like that because blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, actually, there can be a completely different range of things. And you can also be a really intuitive, really kind of connected person, and also have a body that is really wonky and do,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, and I think that there's like a really beautiful thing in meeting another person that gets both of those things, because
Absolutely.
there's still a lot of ableism, I think,
So
in a
do I.
spiritual community, where people assume that I have to have suddenly healed something in order for me to be as connected. And it's such a load of crap,
It
shall we
is.
say.
It
It
is.
really
It
is a
is.
load of crap.
It is. We are. I feel that I'm in the position I am for very many reasons,
Yeah.
and there to facilitate. It facilitates my life. It opens doors, metaphorically, that I can roll through,
Yes.
and as I do, the impact is fairly tremendous. Even at the hospital this morning, both of the nurses said it has been an honour to meet you. And I was like, what? But they instantly connected. She was a
There's
learning
something
disability nurse.
else, isn't there? There's something else that people
There is.
can't quite put their finger on. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was I've never had such a delightful hospital appointment. I think you had one too the other day.
I did
Look,
have one, and it
yeah,
kind of restores your faith in humanity a bit, doesn't it?
it does, doesn't it? That the right person is listening to you, a bit like
Yeah,
we
and
listen
I've
to
always
them.
been very much a person where, and again, I've certainly had my difficulties, as you know, with people and the system, and you know, people not being kind and all of that.
Yeah.
However, I really try to remember that I go in there, or I interact with someone in just like I'm doing now. I really make a point to be really grateful, to be
Empathy.
really kind, to connect to someone as a person, because then they will do the same. If you get really edgy, then automatically people are not going to be great, are they?
No,
No.
absolutely. I met a lady outside the hospital, a much older lady than me, and she said to me, "Yeah, I'm in here every day." And number one seat, she said. And from the moment she walked in, she kept saying, "Excuse me, when's mine? Excuse me, when's mine? I've been here a long time. Can you hurry up? I've got to go somewhere." And she said to the receptionist, "Go and tell number one, will you, that she'll get her time when it's time. But if she doesn't stop moaning, she's going to be sitting there all morning." And and it is true. I was late this morning. My taxi was late, as often my wheelchair accessible vehicles are. I went to the reception apologetically, saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is what happened." They went, "MJ?" And I said, "Yes." And they went, "Oh, the nurses are waiting. It's okay. We were told by one of your colleagues that your transport was late. Don't worry. Everything is all right."
Exactly.
Because I arrived saying, "Look, I know how it is." And something else we share is the fact that alternative modalities, alternative medicine, of course, Reiki, which I got delivered my first Reiki course actually as a Reiki practitioner in my Doc Martens for a birthday present. I didn't even know what it was when I went to train, and it was the only thing. Always looked at everything, always researched everything, literally, to the
Yeah.
nth degree, and I didn't. I just turned up. And
Yeah.
I turned up, and I think that because of that, and I do believe again that it was contrary actually to the way that I normally
Yeah.
approach things. But I think the angel's saying, "Hang on, you don't need to know before you know. You already know what you know, and when you get there, it will come into
Mm.
your awareness." And it was the most natural, beautiful thing. And I think that the reason that I and you, I'm not speaking for you, but from what you said, are here right now is because I have sought alternative ways. When Western medicine has saved my life, it
Yeah.
has,
For
and I
sure.
would never, reject it as a total
No.
difficulty. But
Yeah, absolutely. Neither of us would be here without
no,
Western medicine. No.
no, but complementary medicines to create a life that we deem as worth living, to give us that level of comfort and healing
Yeah.
and knowledge and awareness has been paramount in my life, and that spiritual connection too.
Mm.
Um, and
For
I already
sure.
know what that.
Still
Yeah,
now, I
absolutely.
mean, I literally swear by acupuncture.
Oh,
I
it's
would
brilliant.
not be without it. I am very fortunate to have had people around me. And again, this is the thing. I said to you, didn't I? As soon as we met, I was like, I always meet the right people at the right time. And I always have felt that the people in my life are the gift. So whatever challenge I have, even if it's really flipping hard, I always feel like, oh, here we go. Here's that
Clever.
really gorgeous person that I haven't met yet. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly the person I need. Like MJ, you are for sure in so many ways, probably that I don't even know yet. For sure, somebody that I was supposed to meet when I was going to meet, but I didn't know. I didn't have a clue that I was going to meet someone like you because I didn't know it existed. I didn't know you existed. I didn't know any sort of thing that you did existed. So there was not like a conscious part of me that went, oh, do you know what? I need to find somebody who can help me with this. It was literally, as you say, through a friend of mine. And I really, I mean, our mutual friend was an answer to my prayers for sure.
I've me.
Um, and there's like a real sense for me, as much as angels, like my angels in spirit, I also believe that people have been sent to me in so many ways that you just think, oh yeah, I understand that when I said, oh yeah, I'm going to come to earth and do this thing that is a bit crazy and intense, that they are going to share it with me, and that would be the thing that would make it doable for me. I absolutely 100% vouch for that. Yeah.
100%. If others listen to the other things on YouTube, I've always said we're better together because I'm a bit crap on my own. It's literally what I've said, and those
I mean,
people do.
I don't know about you, but I would be dead on my own. Like,
Absolutely.
there's no way like in certain moments in my life, I always say to people, I can do quite a lot,
Mhm.
but if I had no assistance at all, if I didn't ask for help at all, I would be dead,
Yeah,
so that, and for lots of us, that is a very real thing.
it is.
So yeah, I think that's where my most grateful part of me comes, is the people. I have never ever questioned that I've got amazing people in my life. And I'm very aware of that, and I also hope that I am that for other people, and it's the thing I pride myself on most. I don't actually care about a lot of things other than people. Like
Yeah,
that, to
absolutely.
me, like in one way, I don't understand humanity very much. I don't get it. Like I'm like, what kind of planet am I on? Don't really understand this whole thing. And also, it is the thing that I feel most deeply about. Yeah.
People, absolutely. And you are that person in my life. Remember when you told me that you just said, Michael's here. I said, well, actually, he's on my leg. I have 3 huge tattoos on my legs
He
of
is on
3
your leg.
angels, and Archangel Michael is on my left leg, the one that first started to be challenged. And isn't it interesting that I chose to put that there even before I knew what angel medicine or angel theory or angel, angels were
Any
really,
sort of angels. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you like. So, we all struggle, as we've talked about. Now, what I do is I lean into my angels. I lean into my other people might call it our inner self, might call it our inner guidance, might call it their
Yeah.
inner voice,
Intuition. Yeah.
intuition, whatever
Wellbeing.
it is. But so many people, in fact, if we're looking at the statistics, 1 in 2 people in the United States, if we, that's quite timely at the moment,
Yeah.
will suffer a severe and enduring mental health condition in this lifetime. In our
Yeah.
country, it's 20%. In
Mhm.
in more developed countries, it's 17%. But
Yeah.
for those, and that's you think 1 in 5, or half,
Yeah.
is quite a massive. And of course, it's growing 1 billion mental
Yeah.
health diagnoses a year. And there are so many times that I've struggled, and indeed I came to you for an angel reading at a time when I was struggling with some education progression that I'm doing, and everything you told me, or everything your angels told you, of course, is still happening, and you're 100% right. And at the time, I didn't want to hear that. Actually, I knew it, but I didn't want to hear it out loud. I just didn't want to hear it.
Do you
Yeah.
know what? It's probably a good job I did that reading for you when I didn't really know very much about you, because I think maybe now I'd have been like, oh, I'm not telling MJ that.
Yeah. otherwise, she'll know what's coming down the line. And yet, of course, the choices that we make guide our paths. But for anyone that is listening, and it is the choices we make that guide our path.
Yeah.
And sometimes that does lead to struggles, whether that's physically because they can't get a wheelchair, just saying, or spiritually. Or mentally rather,
Yeah.
because 1 in 2 in Americans, and for all the Americans out there, at least half of you need Anna Grace Taylor. At that time, at least half of all America require Anna Grace Taylor. How can our angel readings or spirituality, that which we know our inner knowing, help? Do you think?
Well, coming back to its most basic thing, even if you saw these cards or the angels as just the voice of love, just strip it right back to, I am speaking to the voice of love. I wonder what love would say to me. So even if you feel like I don't really get the angel thing, it feels a bit floaty to me. And actually, the reason why I wrote these cards or have them in the style that they are is because they are directly a message from the angels. They speak to you as the angels speak. And I did it mostly for me. Honestly, I used to share them on my Facebook page because I thought, oh, that's quite a nice thing to do. But mostly because I would write and say, what do you want me to know right now? And so, really, I feel like the reason why it could help you, or why it might help if you suddenly, I know you said you pulled a card for a client and they were like, wow, how does that
How's
work?
this card doing this? Why did, out of all of those cards, why this one? Well, it was the education card, and they've just been accepted onto a completely free course that will help them become self-employed in the care and support industry. And that literally, it came through instantly on Friday, and then Thursday, and then the card came instantly. I just said, look, these have come. Look, just I'm going to show you. I don't. Just
Yeah.
try it. Just try
Yeah.
it. And they were like, wow,
Yeah.
how?
And you'll never guess what? I just literally cut my deck in half because I thought, well, I'll just show you what I mean. You can't make it up, because guess what the message said. So just going back to what I said, to me the reason it can help is because regardless of whether you understand what that means or how it happens, is that we all, even me, even you, even all of us who have this awareness, is we all want reminders of love. We all want to feel love. We all feel disconnected from love at times. We all forget. I always say that my entire experience, humanly and spiritually, can be summed up in one phrase, and that is, I remember and I forget, and I remember and I forget, and I remember and I forget, at like multiple times a day and a week. I can really come back to love very quickly. I would say that is the thing that I can do. Does that stop me forgetting? Absolutely not. Like, I do that all of the time. MJ has seen that multiple times. You know, my friends see it multiple times. And I think that's why I share so much, because I want people to recognize that we're all humans. We're all doing this human thing. But it doesn't mean that any of those challenges get taken away. It just means that we feel supported in them. So it doesn't solve everything, it doesn't wave a magic wand, but when you understand that you have angels, or that there is something other than you can call upon it. You can say, thank you so much for helping me with this. You can pull a card and go, you know what, I really need some help right now. Please show me. I mean, I just pulled a card and laughed because it says number 35, the voice of love. We, your angels, are the voice of love. This voice will never make you feel bad, will never put you down. We will always encourage and support you and see the best in you. The guidance we give you may not always make sense, and it won't always be easy, but it will be consistent and clear, and will feel deep in your gut. Listen, we love you, your angels. So, I mean, that's it, isn't it?
There you go. There you go. And I listen to your daily card angel readings on your various
Yeah,
platforms.
TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and
Yeah,
I do a weekly reading on YouTube as well. So everywhere.
and they pop up when I need them,
Yeah.
and then other days they don't. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't seen Anna for days, and then up you pop, and you've got exactly what I need to hear, or the angels have at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know, you just pulled
You
the
can't
love
make
card.
it up, as I say. You
No, that's
can't
what I
make
say all
it
my
up.
life. I can't
So
make
I
my
was
life
going to
up.
say, yeah, coming back to, like, if somebody is really new to all of it
Yeah,
and they don't understand it, just see it as love. What would love say to me? And if I did have the ability to call upon that love, whether I see that love within me or outside of me, it doesn't really matter.
right.
But if I could connect to that love, and also that divine love that in some form is with me and around me and is me, then surely that's going to help people feel better. I think of what's happening sort of on a bigger global scale. The only difference is that we are all, as a nation, as a globe, we are
Yeah.
disconnecting ourselves from that love, and it's coming back to love, because everything that isn't love right now is being highlighted so strongly that
Absolutely.
in some way, as much as it's absolutely horrifying and really hard to wrap your head around in any sort of capacity, really, I do see, if I really feel into the kinds of things that we're talking about, the people that we know, if we were to fill an entire football pitch with the people that you and I know, which is a lot of people, I would feel so much hope and love for the world. I would be delighted with the world that I live in. So, because it feels so huge, what isn't love right now, it's difficult to remember that there is so much other than that. But it is always there. And that's the same with the angels. It doesn't matter what is going on, they are there. And at some point in our lives, there's like sometimes like a moment where we go, oh yeah, there they are, even through the difficulties. And I think a lot of people, that's why they're having conversations like this, because they are going, there must be more to life than this thing that
Yes.
we're in.
I always wonder why, for those that haven't got there yet, I used to think, why don't you contemplate why you're here, or what we're all doing here, or what is the purpose of the total? Because I've never felt separate from any other part of the universe, from love, I guess. In
Yeah,
that, when I arrived, I knew I was part of a whole, and the idea, you know, I say to people, you know, I am you. You
yeah,
are me, because actually, if we think about the Big Bang, if somebody wants to be very, very, you know, very, very
scientific.
mechanical, yeah, about it, and if we all came from one explosion, well, then I'm part of the explosion you were part of.
Yeah,
So even if you bring it back to science, it
yeah,
actually makes complete sense, and it's never not made sense to me. And when that happens, and again the forgetting. I'm glad you said that, because it's so easy in in the mess in the middle, I call it. I take a bottom up approach. I love people. I love connecting to people. My the peeps I was out with last night, helping somebody get some legal advice. He said, this lady just loves people. Look, she great. They come towards her. She connects with them, and they're meant to be there at the time. So for me, love is all there is, and
Yeah.
connection, and that
Is.
disconnect is.
Yeah, I think that's what you and I, we do it in different ways, but that is fundamentally what makes us very alike, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think but then I also think that our shared experiences teach us just how much more alike we are than we are different. And if the world could start to align with that because it's so logical, then maybe humanity could, begin to return to love. And I feel very strongly that this year has been all about humanity returning to love, and people that you would never imagine talking about what love is and what's the whole purpose are having those conversations in the street, outside the hospital, on a bus, in a taxi. People that walk into my life that have never even maybe contemplated such a thing.
Exactly.
Around it comes.
Exactly.
So what's a typical day like for you? And I'd be happy if you wanted to pull another card whilst you're
Oh yeah, no, I was going to
whilst you're
say
hanging,
my
whilst we're
typical
hanging.
day. I mean, goodness, I think what I will say is I'm very lucky that I work from home. So I do
Me
sort of
too.
set my own hours really, and that can really vary. So I don't really have a particularly
Yeah,
set day, but I would say I work a lot with people in the US. So a lot of my client sessions are from like, 12 till 5 or, something like that. Usually 2, 3, 4 is like the main times I often see people, because if you're 5 or 6 or 7 hours or 8 hours difference, then that's their morning. And it works perfectly for me, MJ, because as you know, I am not a morning person.
I was
So
going to say you're a night
where
owl.
you're doing, I always think maybe you're like taking, it's like while Anna's asleep and doing her thing,
Equally,
you're awake doing your thing at 4 in the morning, and I'm
that's
like,
right.
thanks very much.
That's airport time.
Exactly. And then I'm really happy to be up late as well. I'll
I'm
often
in
get
bed.
my inspiration. I'll write things when it's late at night, and because I've got lots of friends on the other side of the world as well, I seem to gravitate towards that. The angels knew what they were doing. Like my Facebook page is mostly US people, because when it grew, years ago back then, it was very much sort of centered around the US. So I feel like, yeah, my day is usually that. I spend a lot of time talking. I spend a lot of time writing. I spend a lot of time thinking like you in the ways like, okay, so what's the message that I'm feeling? And therefore, there's a huge likelihood that somebody else is feeling that. And that's why you'll often see me. Yes, I share the angels' messages. Yes, I'll pull cards. But lots of the posts that I end up sharing, particularly on Facebook and Instagram, are my personal experience, because I am still a person. I am still a person. And therefore, the human experience that happens for me is often one I'm supposed to share. And I feel a lot of purpose in that, especially with some of the really painful things. There's a lot of purpose. I find even the stuff that you and I are doing right now, there's a real there's a lot of frustration, shall we say, around, certain things not happening, and me not having a wheelchair that really
Suits your
should
needs.
should just be happening.
Of course.
And I also know, and I did say this to my friends and family, I know that in some way it's because at some point I'll be like, hey, this happened, and then this is what's going to happen, and then so I also know very strongly that there is a sense for me of like, how can I use this? How can I learn from it? Even though I don't necessarily know particularly right now what the result of that is, I also really have always been a sharer. I never keep things to myself, for perhaps the detriment of me sometimes. I think sometimes I'm like, Anna, keep your mouth shut, but I just can't, like, it doesn't sit well with me to keep things
Hide.
in me. And actually, for my own health,
Off.
I process things very much in a way that says, you know what, this happened and I'm feeling this and I'm learning this and I'm doing so. I've always done that, and I think that's part of my day-to-day experience. So none of it really is separate for me, as much as I'm out of my own way and feeling into the angels' messages when I'm doing client sessions. If I'm doing it from a sharing perspective or on my social media or talking to someone or even teaching a class, there's never really a separation between those things.
No, I feel my way through the day and I ask for guidance, and what comes is usually here to teach me. And even though I never, you know, I call myself an outcomes oriented practitioner in that, you know, I'm training in social worker, you know what I do, but actually it's not the outcome that's the purpose, it's the process, and
Yeah.
the outcome is the happening. I hope anybody might understand what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
But the process of learning through meeting you, our mutual friends, the lengthy time. I mean, we're talking about the delays for you, and of course I've had, you know, quite a protracted delay, 2 years delay on the culmination of my social work degree, and we're still, you know, really in
Well,
that
that's the
long
interesting thing, is sort of coming
long
back
road.
to full circle of what we talked about in the reading. I was like, I'm not sure you need that, MJ. You were like,
I
oh
know.
yeah, I think I'm going to do it. Like, okay, fine, that's fine.
Okay, if you think you need to go and do that, you go ahead, dear. You go and do that. But I think you know enough. I think you've got all of the things. You just need to go and do the do. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
and it's interesting because you asked me to pull some cards while I was talking, so
I
I'm
did.
like, okay, fine. And it two came out. I always pay attention to that, so I never feel like I mean, obviously, if it's 10 cards, maybe not, but it goes. So first of all, it relates to what we were just saying, because there is number 18, ask and you shall receive. So it says, there is no limit to what you can ask us to help you with. We are limitless energy. It is only you as human beings who believe in and experience limitations. And don't forget, we love you unconditionally and we exist to support you in your earthly life in all ways. So you have every reason to ask and to receive. We love you, your angels. So that is quite appropriate, do you not think? And also, because you literally said the words that were in this card. Number 49, you are enough. It says, do not let the need for perfection keep you stuck in procrastination. Don't wait around for everything to be just right before you do anything. Otherwise, you will wait forever. Instead, we encourage you to begin, continue, create, and learn as you go along. Share what you can from where you are, as that is always enough. You are enough. We love you, your angels.
And 2 years ago, I could have thought, well, I'm going to sit here and cry into my tea.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay in my bed and think, woe is me. And instead I thought, right, I'm off to Dubai and I'm going to go around the world and I'm going to share everything I know with everyone I meet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to create the YouTube channel, the footage, the reels, the podcasts. And I look back at the amount of events like this, both on Clubhouse and on YouTube and here and LinkedIn, and the lives I've done. And the first time I ever went on Clubhouse, and it's only an audio app, I haven't got to look at anyone.
Yeah.
Just when I put my hand up on the stage, I shook. I physically shook because of the fear of sharing my voice and sharing my experience.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years on, and that block, if you like, or what I perceived as a block, actually has turned out to be my becoming. Because everything I am today is as a result of everything I've just grown through. People say I'm going through. I say you're growing through it. Actually, you might be going through it, but
The
you're
good
growing.
news is we can continue to remind each other of that, especially if I'm having a tantrum about what's not happening.
Or me. I love having a tantrum. I think it's necessary that we have to express, all of us. You know, they say now that the workplace is the reason that culture is challenged in the workplace, and you and I are fortunate in that we work from home. I do predominantly, and I've built my own team, just like you, with your angels and the 3D humans you have around you. You know, around us. You know, they say that we're the sum of the 5 closest around us. So I think it's really important to do that, is to draw around you the people that you resonate with. But but for, for me, that is it. That's how my little cosmos, my
Mm.
experience, my world, my team, our togetherness, our belonging protects me, shields me, and allows me to have that kind of angelic, energetic bubble around that which I create, that gives me that space, an opportunity to co-create with other people who are of like mind, heart, and spirit. Um,
Yes.
and they come into that bubble, right?
And I don't know about you, and I think you would, well, I do know about you because this is what your whole ethos is. But I think for me, one of the big things in my life is that I recognize that my early life, particularly, or a big chunk of my life was not around other disabled people.
No,
Um, for
or
no
mine,
fault of my parents or
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 mine.
anything. It wasn't like because they didn't want to or anything like that. It was just I went to mainstream school. I wasn't
Mm.
around those people. I went to a couple of different clubs, like I was at a swimming club for disabled, but they were mostly older people. I didn't feel connected to, and I feel like sometimes, especially in these spaces that we find ourselves in, and when there's lots of challenges going on, or we have our health go wonky doodle, or something happens where we're trying really hard to fight for something that should be a right,
Basic
it
human right.
is to actually remember that there are other people who, yes, we can look at that limitation and go, oh yeah, that is a thing, that's a thing, but also go, oh, you see what's possible here. You see what's possible when you do have the right support, you do have a wheelchair, the right person to be with, the person that's going to pick you up from the hospital, the person that's going to take you to that thing. Because my world, potentially, I mean, I don't regret it at all. I love what I do. I love working from home. But, me as a 20-something-year-old may have made completely different decisions about what I did, because I would have been like, oh yeah, cool. If I have somebody that would help me to get on the train and do the thing and walk over here and meet this person, I wouldn't have seen the barriers that I know I'm still working through. I still have a massive part of me that's got inner ableism, because I wasn't in the space that taught me that I could do all of those things. So I think it's really important what you do, MJ, not just because you are helping other people to get what they need, but equally you're changing what people see as possible, because of, actually, if we did live in an accessible, inclusive society, I mean, gosh, you and I would probably be quite unstoppable, I would imagine, right?
If I could just get round transport, I mean, the world would have to watch it. Yeah, the
Yeah,
built and the yet to be built environment for me is the infrastructure of how I move through the world. I don't see the difference. Again, if I've always known who God was. I don't see the difference between a buggy and a mum not being able to get into something,
yeah,
or me.
yeah,
We're both on wheels,
yeah.
and wheels are not. We began the wheel a long time ago, before any of
Yes.
this infrastructure.
I was
We
going to
knew
say
what
there
the
are
wheel
lots
was.
of other reasons for wheels, aren't there? Yeah. Lots of other reasons for
You
wheels.
think about wheels right back in the Stone Age, and here we are, but we've still not really absorbed the idea
Yeah.
that wheels exist, and that really tells you about the universe,
Yeah,
right?
and I think,
The
and I
world.
also think of, the reasons why you and I are doing what we're doing, for me to get, equipment that I need,
Wheels.
but also equally, I know the reason I'm continuing to do that really is ultimately not even about me, because there's so many other people that are like me, that don't even know you, that don't have any sort of support with any of this, and
Because of
just think,
love.
oh well, give up. Yeah,
Love, because of love. Because,
exactly.
at the end of the day, if you don't know, if you don't have the information, you
Yeah,
can't take the action, you
yeah,
can't get the outcome. And if
no,
somebody just loves you, or shows love, or shares love, that builds trust. And I was
exactly.
only talking about it this morning with a major organisation in Wales, for disabled people, and anyone that just looks up those two words will know which organisation I'm talking about. But for disabled people in Wales, about, it is about us seeing we can't be what we can't see.
Yeah.
So when people see me on stages, when people see me flying over to Dubai, when
Yeah.
people see me on social media, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes. Yes, it
It
is.
is.
Exactly. And I do think that, some of the stuff that I see now, I'm really hopeful about, because definitely as a young child, had I had sort of social media or sort of more accessibility than that I'm experiencing now, that would be great. And yet there is still a huge hurdle that we're all overcoming. And, we live in 2026 at this point. You'd think that there would be a more of a sort of a benefit for us all to have accessible places, because as you say, so at some point we're all going to be older, we're all going to need more accessible places. It's not just the people that are born disabled,
No,
people that have injuries. There's so many other people that have injuries that maybe
that's,
halfway through their lives can't move. And so and also those of us who have invisible disabilities as
that's
well. It
right.
shouldn't be about movement, but
Shouldn't. It's about
no,
everything.
for sure. And I
Absolutely.
and I just feel, yeah, and the interesting thing about that is that it was such a thing that I didn't want to highlight in my life, because all I wanted people to see me as is somebody doing what they love to do. I wanted to just focus on, this is the message I'm sharing, this is what I want to share. And yet I also see the irony of that too, because the more I've sort of grown into my 40s, actually, particularly, I see that it isn't separate from any of it. And that actually, if I do really believe that I came here to earth and I knew that I was going to have this body and I was going to be here for a certain reason, although I don't know all the reason, of course, I don't know all the reason, but there is a sense of purpose in that somehow for me. And
Oh,
that's the way that I can be more accepting of it. Yeah.
what was beautiful for me, and I'd never seen it before, and it made me feel quite emotional, was the fact that one of your angel friends, that's what I'll call them, one of your colleagues, one of your angel friends actually featured you in your wheelchair on an angel card, and I had
Yes.
never seen a representation of me on an or anybody like me
Yeah.
or anybody using any kind of appliance. I was and it was our mutual friend that showed me, and
Yeah,
I was
because she said,
absolutely
"Look, there's Anna in the card." She's like,
mind blown, mind blown, mind blown. It literally was just a pivotal moment in my spiritual journey that went, wow, there's other people that are a bit wonky that also actually are quite straightforward and have got it. Now, if
yeah,
I had a magic wand, which by the way I have, I just haven't got it on my desk at the moment. I was given by another friend of ours who we've just realised at the funeral of his wife, who I supported through the very process I'm supporting lots of people through, and we were giving out magic wands on the seat of the funeral, and he's often known for having a magic wand. If I had, or if I gave you my magic wand for 5 minutes, which I think you've already got one to be honest, and you get only 5 minutes to use it. I know there's so many things, right? What would you do?
oh, do you know what? This really makes me quite emotional, because I feel really overwhelmed with the kinds of things that I could potentially do. And it feels really massive. It doesn't feel like me, particularly, as in just me as Anna. But like the first thing that came to my mind, like as a whole, is just for everyone to know peace and to know what it feels like to feel that love. Because if we did, then the entire world that we know would be different, wouldn't it?
It
Yeah.
would. It's all been about love. Now, people
Yeah.
need to get to find you so they can get a card, so they can
Yes,
buy them, so they can.
please come and
How
buy my cards.
how do they get to you? Where do
Also, I
you
need
live?
to say to you, my dream for the next year, because I hope I'm going to create a deck that people can really use, that's more sort of pictures and lots of things, is I am definitely going to put inclusive images in there. I'm definitely going to include images that represent us, because if I can't do it, who the heck can? So yeah, definitely we'll do that. And what did you say? You
I
asked
said,
me
how
about
do they get hold of you? Where do we go to find you?
AnnaGraceTaylor.com.
There you go. That's easy, isn't it?
AnnaGraceTaylor.com. And you'll
You wrote
find links to all of my social media and everything.
That's incredible. I can't thank you enough for coming and spending an hour with me. It always feels like a gift when people arrive on First Friday Live, and there's some good people gone before you, and there's some others booked for after you. But I couldn't be more honoured. I hope that anyone that listens to this today has drawn something from it in this moment, whichever moment they pick it up, and that they know that love is here and it won't go anywhere, and that's all there is. Right?
It's all there is in the end. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Say
Love you
bye to
lot.
everyone.
Love
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.